All right, guys, did you miss the dip? Enthusiast cars and race cars and all the cars that we love. I think the prices are shooting up right now. This is Bid Nerds. Let's get to it. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. Okay, guys, welcome to a live show on a Monday night. It is definitely a Monday over here in the Rami studio in downtown Las Vegas. My name is John Polnick. We are coming to you live here in Las Vegas, as well as my partner right over there. Not in Las Vegas. He is in San Francisco. That is Michael Deeb. What's happening, Michael Deeb? Welcome back to your state.
As I mentioned it, JP, and I know how much you love to open the show by talking about the weather. We had a great time in Boise, Idaho, thanks to Kelly Smith and the entire Spud Syndicate for welcoming both you and myself. And let's face it, Chris Carbine, who is practically, let's just get him a business card already. He practically works here. We all went to Kelly Smith's Air and Coffee and had a fantastic time. JP, I know you were semi-working. I just saw you with a camera in hand. I suppose you're going to produce some very cool assets for that event. But for everybody who attended, it was awesome. Like 80 cars, all different colors, quality air-cooled cars, absolute blast. And I got my family back across the Sierras last night, and it snowed all day today. So thank God we're home safe and sound so that I could be here doing the show instead of a cheap motel room in Reno, Nevada doing the show. It's great to be home. How about you? Was Patootie happier to see you than Rochelle?
I think so, and yes, the that event, the Idaho Air and Coffee, was fantastic. So one more congratulations to our friend Kelly Smith, who is on his way to Mexico now. And thanks for everyone who came out to that show. All right, we are going to get after it tonight. We were supposed to have Max from RetroWorks, but we had technical issues. But maybe we'll get him on another time. We have kind of some announcements, Deeb. We've been putting it out there that we are now available to sell your car on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, P-Car Market, whatever platform makes the most sense. We are the Bid Nerds, and we are here to make sure that every auction has a happy ending. And we launched our brand new website. Check it out, guys. Bidnerds.biz. Yes, bidnerds.biz, not .com. We are having some issues with that URL, but so we've got bidnerds.biz. That kind of has a ring to it, right? A happy ending for every auction. We've got a bunch of our old auctions that we've either Michael Deeb or myself or both of us have worked on. It's not like we haven't done this before or haven't been doing it for years. We just haven't officially been doing it as Bid Nerds. So now Bid Nerds will sell your car, and so we hope that you give us a holler if you are considering doing so. And to start off the show tonight, go ahead, Deeb.
That homepage of all the stuff we've done over the last handful of years is kind of fun. It's sort of like the photographs on the back door of the office at our brick and mortar that we don't have.
Yeah, it's like the best of page, right? We got all these cool cars. Like, I remember that car. I remember shooting that car.
Good.
Yeah,
very good stuff.
Very exciting stuff.
And then
all right.
The other thing I was going to throw around is you've been using the happy ending so much. When I went and pressed the button for enter on business.biz, I fully expected a neon flashing sign that said massage here 24 hours a day,
You had to go there. We try to be subtle, but not so much. Deeb's going right for, there it is. Happy endings. Nerd style auction wins. That's right. We do have our very own happy endings page on the bidnerds.biz website.
Get yours.
So that ought to be interesting to watch.
Get yours.
To watch the pass-throughs on people coming to the site. Okay, guys, what we do on this YouTube channel, if you're new to the show, this is an odd time for us to be on. We are usually 6:30 at night on Sunday and Wednesday night. That's Pacific time. Tonight we are doing this on a special Monday, but that's okay. We are having a little fun doing this on a Monday night. We will be here Wednesday night, but what we do on this show is we find the most interesting cars from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites, and we analyze those listings, and then we make predictions, and you can play along with us. It's especially fun when you're watching live because you can get in the chat and meet the nerd herd, all the great guys that are hanging out in there and playing along with us. There's kind of a theme tonight, right? We've been talking, the car market is right there adjacent to every other big vertical market, right? From the stock market to crypto to real estate to whatever, whatever stack you're into, you've got the classic and collectible car market. And it's interesting what's going on in the more traditional markets. Like, obviously the stock market is ripping the last couple of days. We had everyone freaking out a couple of weeks ago about how much it plummeted due to, I don't know, tariffs and whatever else was going on the news, and everyone was telling you to freak out about. And then right here, just a couple of weeks later, we're right back where we started. Crypto is on a rip right now. So really, I think the big question is, did you miss your chance? Did you to get the classic car that you wanted there for a couple of weeks? Did you miss the dip? And where's it going to go from here? Is this temporary, or is it going to crash again? What's going to happen? We're going to look at the results of the cars we made predictions on the last episode first. And the first one is particularly special to us because it is our first Bid Nerds official listing. And let's get to it. What was that car, Michael D? We're excited about this.
All right, JP, just a quick backstory. Brothers Dean and Daryl, and I won't go any further than that, brought their cars to Las Vegas in March to do a rally and then kiss those cars goodbye. Introduced to the Bid Nerds by our dear friend Mental, one of the brothers started with us with this 1979 Ferrari 308 GT4. This is a Dino 308 GT4 designed by Bertoni, and this Ferrari actually has a back seat. The car is in fantastic driving condition. The owner of this car has had the car for some 15 years, and he's commissioned a repaint, and he's redone the upholstery, and he's set the suspension correctly, and the engine's been out, and the engine on all the services and all the systems. He's done all the work himself for 15 years. This car was accompanied, JP, by some 530 additional photos, most of which are simply him under the car working on it. In lieu of receipts at the shop, he's got photos of him documenting all the work he's done to get this car into rip-roaring condition, and that it did. So fresh timing belts at the onset of this year. The car was transferred from New York City to Las Vegas, where he did the rally in grand style. JP, you and Rami and Lee have had access to this car for basically the last couple of months and have gone out several times to photograph and video this car and present our first listing with unbelievable assets of a really cool Ferrari. Long the forgotten Ferrari, today it is celebrated as the best handling and most fun Ferrari from that era, and certainly remains one of the most attainable. Running no reserve, our car was listed out of Las Vegas on a New York title in hand by our seller and represented by the Bid Nerds. The car showing 64,000 miles, and we just went to town on it, JP. The assets really kicked us off, and then the engagement from both the BAT community and the Bid Nerd community converging on the BAT community to make noise about this car really gave this car a helping hand. John, you and I recused ourselves from bidding because we are totally vested in the result of this car, so that there be no funny business and no sore feelings one way or another. We stayed out of it. But JP, we talked to our friends at classic.com. They tell us that the average selling price for a 308 GT4 from 1975 is approximately $71,000. Kelly Smith, who was shamelessly plugging his big event from this weekend, jumped on the show with us to play the game. It was great to have Kelly back. It's been a minute. Kelly's bid was at $60,000. Now I got Kevin Bodeman to bid for me, and I think Kevin went to 70 grand if I remember correctly. JP, who did your bid? Who was your proxy
Ross
bid?
Churchhouse was my bidder.
And what was he? 88. And I think he was at $88,308 on that car, if my memory serves me. Thank you, Ross, for writing that into tonight's comments. So JP, without further ado, our car was running no reserve. It sat at like $32,000 for most of the week. And then with an hour to go, the bidding was up to like $48,000. And then we had a flurry of activity. And when the dust settled, probably some 15 minutes after the initial countdown of the clock had taken place, $60,500 was the hammer, where the car sold on 29 bids. So Kelly, you get the win. Way to pick the winner of a one-horse race, Kelly. You get a Bid Nerd Speedo on its way to Mexico, so you can wear it while you're down there with your family. JP, just an outstanding result. First of all, Bring a Trailer wins because they sold the car. Bid Nerds won because we launched a movement. You know, we've been on the sidelines commenting, and now the Peanut Gallery has put their money where their mouth is, and you can hire us, and we hope to provide you with very similar results with regards to the engagement and the positive spin and being able to get the word out there. And it's growing every time we do this. So thank you to the herd, the owner of our car, and first of all, Mental, for recommending him to us, recommending us to him. Thank you for trusting us with not only the car, not only the responsibility of listing it, but actually handing us over the car for a couple of months. And then really the big thing here, JP, is he trusted us to run it no reserve. And listen, you know, based on where he was willing to take a reserve and what he was hoping to get, I can just say with a big smile on my face and a Cheshire cat grin, we knocked it out of the park for him and for us. So everybody won on this one, and not just Kelly Smith for guessing the closest. But there you go, JP. What do you think, man? Are you as happy as I am? Because I've just been we like sort of flew in, even though I drove. We flew into Boise, you know, kind of just like high-fiving, like, hey, Mr. Polnick, what'd you do last week? You know, it's like, oh, we just made some money. What's up? So, you know, there you go. We are taking care of people, and it was quite the buzz, and it was really fun to be amongst our peers in Idaho in the afterglow of this fantastic auction result. JP, what did you see? What would you like us to do more or less? What's your grade the listing for us, and be yourself.
I don't know. You know, I'm pleased with the result. The car sold ultimately. It's funny you say that that the seller trusted us to sell it no reserve. The seller trusted my partner to sell it no reserve. I still am almost always against doing that, but I can't deny that it almost always works really well and brings generally more money. I don't know. I'd sure like to see a definitive study on that. I don't believe it's actually true, but it sure seems like it is, and I'm glad it worked out in this particular instance. We have another one that to go. Yeah, he says timeout. Go ahead.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Every time, exactly. That's how it works. Just like the Bid Nerds. Well, we got a happy ending. 60% of the time, we get a happy ending every time. So I think we'll do better than those numbers, and it's a great way to start. So thanks so much for the Nerd Herd. And if you want to watch the live results of we actually went live. You can go back to the channel when you're done with tonight's show and watch us watch the car close. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and a lot of our Nerd Herd friends joined us. So that was kind of an internal party. So yeah, we're excited about it. All right, so we are going to get to we're going to keep talking about the predictions that we made on the last episode, but just real quick before, I want to tease the fact that our next car that the Bid Nerds are representing is this car, the Toronado, the 66. So make sure you stick around towards the middle of the show. We'll get to that. That'll be the first car we'll talk about when we get to predictions. We're really proud of this listing.
Look at that shot. Look at that shot. Come on. And that's not even a still photo. That is like yanked out of rolling video. You're gonna have to explain that to us, JP.
It's a screen grab from video that we shot. Absolutely.
That is tricky smoke and mirrors. Way to go.
Good stuff. All right, let's get to some more results. What's the next car on the list, Michael D?
JP, I wish I could have bought this car. Let's check in on the 2010 Porsche 911 Carrera S Coupe with a 6-speed manual. 18,000 miles on the odometer. JP, we don't have to go on a deep dive on this car. I didn't like the listing as far as like the assets. I thought they were, I mean, to be frank, parking a car in front of an airplane doesn't do anything for the car for me. I don't know why people keep doing this. I thought the assets were truly piss poor. But you see a 997.2 manual 2-wheel drive car with low miles. And I thought, well, let's just look at it anyways. So out of Aiken, South Carolina, our car showing 18,000 miles was listed on Bring a Trailer as an alumni listing, having been purchased by our seller back in 2010 for $82,000. JP, again, the assets are the only thing that held back my enthusiasm for the car. They're not my favorite set of wheels that you could have gotten on this particular vehicle. But silver black manual with PASM sports suspension and stuff, we thought, this car could do good. Even though I liked the car and was hoping to buy it, I think I was sort of bidding with my desire to rip this car or sort of steal it. So my bid was just $80,000, which is less than what he paid for it a couple of years ago. I don't know what I was thinking. John, you came in way over me at $98,000. And Kelly Smith, Curious Office on Instagram, and the host and producer of Idaho Air and Coffee, his bid was actually really close to mine at $83,000. Just for the record, Classic.com says that the average selling price of a C2 Manual S Coupe from 2010 is just $67,000. However, JP could see what I failed to see, even though I picked the car, which was that we just don't get two-wheel drive manual 997.2s with low miles very often. So even though the colorway was boring, JP was the closest. Our car hammered at $108,000 where it sold on 42 bids. And JP, the only reason I just didn't have the vision to see it going that far is once you get to 110 and start looking, down the next block at $120,000, you could theoretically be shopping for a very nice GTS two-wheel drive manual coupe. And so I just didn't think one of these would do that well, and I was wrong. So JP, tell everybody in the room why you're the smartest guy.
Well, that was a layup, so thanks for making it easy for me. Look, it's not about, and I know that's why you missed that one, because we did cover a GTS fairly recently, and you go, oh, well, I could get this for this much money or get this for this much money. And that's the wrong analysis of that, not just because the number bears out that this car would bring, almost as much as the other one. The fact is, you do not have the option of buying either this car or the GTS for a little bit more. You only have the option to buy the car that's available right now, and there aren't any. There are no 997.2 S's with a manual available. There are no GTS's with manuals available. There are no GT3s with manuals available. And if there is some dealership that has one of those cars somewhere on the market somewhere in America, they are astronomically priced because those dealers are smart enough to know that they don't want to give these cars away. This car, when an when a manual .2 comes up, available for sale, you just buy whatever. Who cares what the wheels are? Who cares what the color is? Who cares what the options are? Who cares if they parked it with, in front of an airplane and took stupid photos with their iPhone? You have to take what you can get if this is the car that you want, and there's just no option. So it's not an apples to oranges. It's not even apples to apples. It's the apple that's available right now. And sometimes when you're hungry, you're like, I'll take the one with the worm in it. Fine. Yeah. As long as it doesn't have like a slug on it, AKA a PDK, you're fine. You're good to go. So congrats to the new owner of this car. Terrible listing. Could have got more money if they had called the bid nerds. What do you guys think of the results of this 997.2S manual? I think that's a fantastic car. And Deeb, I think you would have looked good in that car. You should have bought it. All right. What's the next car on the list? What do we got? Did we miss the dip, something like that? Whatever. What's this?
Yeah, man. Cars are selling. JP, we're going to just take a quick look at our 2009 Aston Martin V8 Vantage Coupe with a 6-speed manual. 19,000 miles on the odometer here. So very similar to that 2010 997.2 that we just looked at. This car is listed out of Houston, Texas, and also on Bring a Trailer. Beautiful, mature colorway, JP here. Excellent bucket of assets, but not nearly as desirable or as rare a car. We typically see these cars, JP, bring $35,000 to $45,000 all day long if they're in nice condition. But this one had good assets, John. Would it bring a little bit more money? According to our friends at Classic.com, my little side remark there bears out. The average that these sell for with a manual is just $42,000. JP, I thought this car had a chance to get to like $58,000. You even took the over I think you were smitten by these photos at $60,000. And Kelly Smith from Curious Office and Idaho Aaron Coffee, he was on the show with us. He took the under just beneath me at $56,500. JP, this is the best result I had for the entire day. 58,507 was the hammer where the car sold on 32 bids. So first side remark is I missed a Yahtzee by $507. Little pat on the back there. But second of all, JB, that close to 60 grand has to be kind of a high watermark for an Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Not that anybody cares. There's really no desire or demand for these. But at 58 grand, is this modern Aston better than, I don't know, what can you get for 58 grand? Like a used up 996 turbo, or, like, where are you shopping? Like, for the 60 grand that gets you in the nicest V8 Vantage, what are you shopping that money across the world that's in Stuttgart for? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want a 997.2 over this car, but for this money, you're looking at 997.1, and those have those are just always going to be, they're never going to really be truly realized because of that darn IMS issue that hangs over their head. This car, I think, is actually not unlike the 997.2 in the sense that this is the .2 version of this particular car with the 4.7 versus the 4.3. The 4.7 has 420 horsepower. The earlier ones have it's 380. It's a big difference, right? So the earlier ones are just sluggish. I think people want this slightly newer one, and I think it just represents kind of a genuine value in the market. I think the other cars that people might be considering against this might be like a C63 of some sort, or maybe, some of the big muscles, Mercedes saloons and stuff like that, or BMWs, but none of those are going to have a manual transmission, right. So I think, and let's not forget too, that is a goddamn beautiful car. That is a showstopper. That is a neck breaker. You roll up in that at the casino or at the country club or wherever you're trying to flex, and you're looking legit. This is a car that really it hits above its weight, and because we know that these are ballers on a budget. This car was incredibly expensive, brand new, and Aston's definitely, take it in the shorts when it comes to depreciation. And this one, they seem to be doing pretty well. I would not recommend getting a .1, the .2, and they don't refer to them as .1s or .2s. That's really just saying that. But yeah, neat car. And Philip says, how about an SL65 AMG? Yeah, you're making my point, man. No stick on that car. A great car, but just not apples to apples here. So, yeah, what do you guys think of the results of the Aston? Does that represent the dip? Are these going to go up from there? I don't know. What do you guys think? Actually, I do kind of want to talk about this for a second, Deeb. Not necessarily this car, but I think the market in general right now, there's this kind of the classic car market and classic car prices seems to follow closely just the overall sentiment of what's going on in the market in a whole, right? People are like, okay, I'm worried, or there's uncertainty, or maybe I'm not worried, but the uncertainty is just going to make me sit back and wait. You just can't call it like a leading indicator, right? Because it's like, it's like a latent indicator. You've got people who are going, yeah, I'm going to sit on the sidelines and wait. And I think that, you saw the market start coming back early last week, if not sooner, right?
We made the deal, the big deal with the UK, and that got signed by the president, I think, in the middle of last week. And so we had
late last week, and then you had China today. But last week, before even the UK thing, you saw big gain. Obviously 2-3 weeks ago we saw. Oh my gosh, it was crazy, right? We saw 2,000 point days, 2,000 point drops in the stock market, but then within a week or so, it was only about 3 or 4% off. So it takes a while, even though things might be actually better, it takes public sentiment to catch up to that. And I think the car prices are a good example of what's going on. I think if we look forward, if we had a future, a crystal ball to look in the future, in about a month, everyone's gonna be like, things are great, but there might be all kinds of real indicators that go, maybe not. But it's that latency that's hard to keep up with and keep track of. Let's move on. There's one more car that we made a bid on, and this one I think is a good example of some of that. Yeah, this car was a little earlier in the week, and I think people, what was the car? What was it?
Don't slip on a banana. JP, We're going to take a second closer look at the 2022 Maserati Levante Modena S. This car is an inspected listing running on Cars and Bids out of Roanoke, Texas, on a clean Texas title. Our car is showing just 5,500 miles. But the big news here, JP, this is the high horsepower, high performance version of the car. The 3.8 turbocharged V8 with all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic is just making a ton of horsepower. And this car, even though it's 2 going on 3 models year old, has just 5,500 miles on the odometer and is in this unbelievably rare and eye-catching bright yellow paint job. JP, according to our friends at Classic.com, all of the Levantes, the little engine ones and the big engine ones combined, sell for an average of just $43,000. It's a very misleading number because this car costs significantly more than that. With just 5,500 miles on the odometer, JP, I thought this car would do poorly because of the color and these bad assets and still ring the bell at $63,000. John, you took the under by a significant margin. Your bid, $49,999. And Kelly Smith from Curious Office and Idaho Air and Coffee joined us on the show. His bid was just above yours at $53,500. John, our car hammered for only $58,055, where it failed to sell on 53 bids, which was our highest bid count of the week. So the public fought over this car, and I think they've kind of spoken. First of all, these Maseratis, these late models Maseratis, nobody wants these cars, and Maserati's having a hard time selling them. So if you buy one, you are in for a world of hurt in depreciation. This has to be the fastest depreciating mark available still in the United States. Like there's no demand for new Maseratis, thus there's almost no demand for used Maseratis. So bringing a car to auction, if you're going to do that and try to get a retail number, you have to come correct. And while an SUV on Cars and Bids is a good place to start, you got to have professional photographs and at least consider that if it's bright yellow and has a Ferrari motor, going to the larger audience at Bring a Trailer. And it's not denouncing Cars and Bids. I'm just saying if this car has a chance in hell, you got to go to the bigger audience. And that's just math. That's not criticism. It's math. And so these assets, no shot. And you're on the SUV site and they gave you an SUV number, 58 grand, but you needed probably 75 to make you happy. And you were nowhere near that. So JP, what's your take?
Yeah. Market sentiment. The market could 10x tomorrow. Crypto could go to 1 million and ain't nobody buying one of these. These are not appreciating. I suspect Maserati isn't going to make it through 2025. I kind of think that anyone who's trying to sell any Maseratis anywhere has got to be going, geez, how could, if you've got one, get rid of it right now. Unless it's a super classic, unless it's like a 50s or 60s one or something like that, you better just unload that sucker because all the modern stuff is just going to spiral the toilet bowl. No, if you have a Maserati and you're considering selling it and you're thinking maybe the bid nerds can help me out, you know what? That's maybe a call that we don't want. would we accept, for real, real question, if somebody came to us with one of these, we would try to sell it for you, but you would have to have reasonable expectations. If you came to us with this vehicle as nice and cool as it is and said, I want 70 grand, and you said, yeah, if it gets to $58,000, I'm saying no, we're going to say, maybe try Craigslist, see how that works out for you. Thanks. Bye-bye. What do you got there? What's that all about?
When a photographer looks at what he wants to see, does this have a name when the photographer does this?
I don't even know what you're doing.
pretending like
waving to us?
Yeah.
Okay,
anyways, all right. Act like you don't know what I'm talking about. All right. All I'm saying, JP, is
you guys know what he's doing?
Try it on for size. Wouldn't that be good if it ran no reserve?
That is the only way we'll take your Maserati. That's true. We will give you the best shot in the world, but you got to do no reserve. That's true. All right. What do you guys think of the results of this Maserati? Let's get to some predictions. Let's get out of here. All right. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. Hey, guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths. Fine Swiss repair. All right, we are back. It is time to get to predictions. Our Smiths. Thanks, Anthony, for driving us around and hanging out with us and basically ruining Mercedes Mother's Day. I know she did not want to hang out with me. She wanted to hang out with family, but instead we were walking around downtown having ice cream. That was a lot of fun, and then I got a ride to the airport. So thanks again to Anthony over at Our Smiths. Okay, let's get to it. What's the first car on the list, Michael D, for predictions?
All right, JP, back to our mental story of being introduced to the brothers Dean and Daryl. We sold one of the brothers Ferrari, and now the other brother doesn't even send, he drives this stunning 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado Deluxe from Oklahoma to Las Vegas, Nevada to do a Lemons rally in March with his brother. And both of them had agreed with sort of, quote unquote, title in hand to drop the cars off after the rally was concluded and leave them with the Bid Nerds. And by Bid Nerds, I mean JP and Rami's garages, respectively. But it was just a perfect excuse to get this thing going with the Bid Nerds and have us sell the cars for them and list them and put our name on it. And again, thanks to Lee Patet, thanks to Rami Mirza, and of course JP, who's just the consummate pro as far as getting these cars, basically photo ready, getting them out in the perfect environment. On a sunny week in Las Vegas, we went out to Red Rock in the morning to find snow and take these photos and videos that are just stunning. And as great as the car looks, way out in the alien landscape of Red Rock Canyon, is that BLM out there, JP? Is it a national or a national park?
It's a national park.
So a national park, and people come from literally all over the world to camp and hike and bike and climb out there. It's so stunning. John's been using it to great effect for a decade now. For all of his listings and marketing for himself, his clients, and God and Porsche, of course. But this car is mid-century modern at its finest. And every time JP pulled it out of the garage in the north end of the Arts District, right off the Strip in Las Vegas, this car is like being in Kauai, Hawaii, where every time you turn around, you're like, oh, photo op. Like, look at that. Oh, take a picture of that. Everywhere this car goes in the north end of town, it looks like it's been there for 65 years, which is just incredible. Like, literally, it's a time machine for the heyday of Vegas's great first big run in the 1960s. And we took these cars out at sunrise one day, and I got to drive this, and we shot the slant nose, we shot the Ferrari, and we shot this car in and around the Strip, and it's just fantastic stuff. JP did a driving video, a POV video. If you have time, please take a look. There are 3 very spectacular video assets at the bottom of this listing, and I encourage all of you to take a look at them. And while you're on the listing, please drop us a like and watch the listing. And if you have time, make a comment or ask a question and get a little engagement. We got almost 15,000 watchers, or I should say views on the Ferrari. We only have just under 10 on this one. So help us sort of lift this car to the, how should we say it, JP, the finish line as the car closes tomorrow. So our Oldsmobile is running no reserve. It is on a salvage title, or a damage title, I should say. The car received some hail damage a year ago. That was repaired. I mean, it was just basically some impressions in the hood, the roof, and the rear deck lid. That was easily fixed. And then the brother that owned this car, again, put this thing up on a lift in his own garage and did most of the work himself. Almost all the systems work. We had sort of listed it as having a faulty or non-working air conditioning and heating system. And that is true. The functions that the car was born with are not operational, but there is a little protocol that is spelled out, and you can get the heating and air conditioning to work. The cruise control was removed from the car. Outside of that, everything on this car works. JP, the coolest feature for me, aside from finding out that these behemoths are front wheel drive, is that the bench seat is electronically sliding. So you literally press a button as a driver on the arm of the door, and the entire bench slides forwards and backwards. That I thought was the coolest, most opulent American thing about the car. Big 425 cubic inch rocket V8, has 385 horsepower and 475 pound-foot of torque running through the front wheels. This thing is just awesome. And the true definition of a coupe, the way my daddy taught me: 2 doors, 4 windows, no bar, or in car speak, no B-pillar. And that is what this car is. Every time JP gets in the car, all 4 windows come down. He kind of turns his hips a little bit to the right, to the center of the car. That left elbow goes out over the window. He's got his aviators on, and he keeps looking at me going, "This is the coolest car I've ever driven. I love this thing the most." And it's like, we should do a GoFundMe and buy it for JP, but we do have to pay our owner of the car first. So JP, without further ado, this car is running. It is off and going. We haven't had quite the Ferrari level of engagement, but what more could you expect from an Oldsmobile from the 1960s, even when as cool as this? It does have good engagement. We do have a good bid pot for the moment, and we are winding down to a strong finish tomorrow. I do think the tea leaves look good. JP, you fell in love with this car every time you looked at it. Tell the audience what you found for it to be so special.
Ah, man, it's so true. Everything you're talking about is absolutely right. I do love this car, and I couldn't be more surprised that I'm the one that is so smitten with this thing. When I heard that this car was coming, I knew that it was coming with the Ferrari, and that's all I could think about. I had in my head that this was going to be a Gran Torino. I don't even think it registered in my head what a Toronado was. I honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I didn't know what a Toronado was. I did not know what a Toronado was. Had no clue. And when I first saw it the first time, I was like, I guess that's kind of neat, whatever. But then we got in the car and fired it up, and it was just the nostalgia just flowed over me. Now, I don't remember anyone having one of these when I was a kid, but it's just everything, the sensibilities of this car when you're in it, the sound. I mean, it really does kind of remind me of a Cadillac Eldorado, which is basically the same thing too, because it has that front wheel drive thing. But it just, I don't know, getting behind the wheel, it made me second guess myself. I'm such an a-hole. You guys all know that. I love Porsches. I love classic European cars and little cars that have not tons of power, but handle really well and can beat the big muscle cars because they're smaller and more lightweight. This car, it's not that at all. This car doesn't handle for ish. It's not particularly fast. I said it in JC Fernandez's video, and you can watch his film that we've got linked in the listing. It's just, there's nothing on paper that makes this car good, but everything about this car is just magnificent. You just don't care. We're always talking about the visceral feeling. If one more a-hole says visceral when they describe a 911, I'm just going to, through the internet, just punch him in the face. Don't stop using that word, right? This car is not visceral in the sense that it tells you, it transmits everything from what's going on the road, through the tires, through the wheels, through the gear, and to the steering wheel, or through your butt or your arm when you're touching everything. This car does the exact opposite. It insulates you from everything except the world. And that's what's just so great about this car. You roll the windows down and you're just sliding through everything. It's like it's like taking a Valium or something like that. It's just, you're just chill. Everything's great. Nothing can be wrong right now. I don't care if I'm broke or if I just won the lottery or if the weather's good or bad. I don't care. I'm rolling the Toronado. I love this car.
Instead of saying taking a Valium, you say it's like a magic carpet ride.
There you go. Yeah. The next time I get a little blue, I'm going to be like, I'm going to take a Toronado. So I do think you guys should buy this car for yours truly.
I got to spend more than one day in Vegas with JP in this car. And again, John is right in ground zero of the whole north end of Vegas, which is fantastic. And there are morning, noon, and night people standing on the street. You cannot go out in this car with the windows up. There's no reason to. All the windows come down as you start the car and it's warming up. You idle out of the garage. The moment you touch the street in north end of Vegas, you're literally, he's talking to somebody out the driver's window, and I'm talking or making eye contact and giving people the thumbs up or receiving that out the passenger side of the window. If we're at a red light, people stop in front of the car and they're like, oh my God, is it for sale? Like, it's like everybody just loses their mind, which is absolutely hilarious and so perfectly Vegas. But yeah, if you don't like to talk to people, this is not the right car for you. JP, I know you said that in one of the videos.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, it gets so much attention. I don't know how many times we can say it. One of the things, I want to turn the sound on for just a second. Here's a video of just me driving it around. Some people in the comments have said, hey, this thing needs a new muffler or something. It's a little loud. I'm going to tell you, look, we put a microphone. Oh, I'm talking in the video. We put a microphone, near the exhaust so you could actually hear it. Honestly, it's kind of hard to, it's not that loud at all. If you roll the windows up, you don't hear it at all. I just kind of wanted to enhance the sound of the engine because it makes the video, I don't know, a little bit more interesting. But here's a POV shot of driving down the Las Vegas Boulevard, people waving everywhere we went. People were waving and saying hello. I love this car. It's just not that loud. If you think it does not need a new muffler, we're just cranking that part of the sound up. Deeb, the big question is, what will our little friend, the Toronado, how will the Toro story end? We know it's going to be a happy ending because it's no reserve, but just how happy an ending are we going to get here?
All right, JP. So according to our friends at classic.com, the average selling price of the first series of the Toronado is just $20,000. Because we are listing the car, I'm going to recuse myself from bidding. I nominate Chris Carbine in the listings to be my proxy bid. And Chris's bid on my behalf is $21,900. Thank you, Chris Carbine, for putting that number out there for me. I really appreciate it. JP, who are you going to nominate to be your proxy bid as you recuse yourself from bidding on the Toronado? I should mention, JP, that our car is currently sitting at $12,750. That comes to us by way of, so many photos to get through, just 6 bids, but those bids came in early. The car is running no reserve. All of our underbidders are engaged, and we've had great engagement, great questions. And honestly, JP, this is such a boomer car. We've had so many people talking about their fathers or, some of the older guys who bought these cars when they're brand new and talking about just sharing stories about their experience with the Toronado and how long they've had one in the family and this, that, and the other. So lots of people really taking this car to heart. $12,750. The car closes tomorrow. Our close for those that would like to join us for that is going to be at 10:18 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So BAT opens at 10 a.m. At 10:18 makes me think we're like a top 5 or top
First
10
one,
closure. Yeah, it's one of the first handfuls of cars that is going to close tomorrow. So we'd love to have anybody. It's probably a really good chance that we jump on at 10:10 or 10:15 and just do a little war room of the closing of this car. Please, if you can, jump on there and make a little listing. JP, I've been talking over you for a minute there. Did you want to nominate somebody to do a bid for you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, why not? If my wife were watching, I would take her bid. She was hanging out. She loves the car too. She went right by the Ferrari and went right to the Toronado. She's like, it's going to get 40 grand. And I hope she's right. But I can't nominate her because she's not in the nerd herd watching. So I'll nominate Randy B. He says it's going to be, what does he say? Randy B says $24,000. I think it's gonna double in the last day. I think that's everyone that's interested in this car is just kind of waiting to the end here. This thing is just an absolute gorgeous car. It's. Man, I know I'm gushing here, guys, but it really is that nice a car, and we really do want to have a really happy ending for the seller. I hope maybe it only gets like another bid, and it's my bid, because if it doesn't get near there, I might just buy it. Hop in there, Dave. You were going to say something?
Just funny story about Chris Carbine and Randy Bloom, who are hanging out tonight with their wives watching the show at a little watch party in Boise, Idaho. JP, you might be asking yourself, what's Chris Carbine still doing in Boise, Idaho? And JP, that'd be a very good question to ask. If I may tease Chris and Ann just a little bit in their hour of gloom and despair, the powers that be at Delta Airlines, I don't want to name any airline, I'm just going to name one. Delta Airlines decided in their, in their all their smarts that they would take a couple that looks like Chris Carbine and his fiance Ann and say, you know what, you guys weren't here an hour before the flight takes off, so we're not going to check your bags. We're going to kick you off the flight. And we'll give you $200 for your trouble, and we're going to put somebody else in your seats. Wow. So somehow they didn't do anything wrong, and they missed their plane. So blow it out your pie hole, Delta Airlines. Pick on somebody your own age, whoever you were at the counter, because I know you weren't Chris and Ann's age, and that was a
that was lame.
That's lame. Biting my tongue. That was an awful thing to do. That being said, I'm jealous that I'm not at Randy's living room hanging out with Randy and his wife and Teresa, and then Chris and Ann. They get one more fun night together. So there you go, JP.
Let's move it on. We've got a bunch of cars to do and very little time. So let's make some quick predictions so we can talk about it on the other side. What's the first car on the list, Deep?
2005 Lamborghini Murciélago Roadster with a 6-speed manual showing just 7,000 miles. This is a premium listing and has run at least 10 days. JP, the car is on a Minnesota title in the seller's name out of Stillwater, Minnesota. The big news here, JP, is the gated 6-speed manual, the open top, and the super low odometer. Murciélago prices are all over the board. None of the prices I see support the fact that our car is already up to $450,000. $375 is supposed to be all the money for one of these. But I do think when you hit it just right, Roadster, gated manual, and low odometer, then you can sort of break the internet. And this is already, if it hammered right now, this would be the highest result we've seen in the last handful of years. So JP, this was a great pick by you. A very restrained colorway in this sort of Grigio and Terrace paint with a red and black upholstery. I don't really dig the red seats. If it were my car, I'd pull those inserts out and just cover them with black leather and save the red leather for when the car needed to be sold a second time. But like overall, it's a pretty restrained colorway for what is already a very bodacious car. But JP, this combination is the trifecta, and this guy is going to make a mint because he's still got 2 days until it closes. Give us your thoughts on the open top gated manual Murciélago.
Yeah, they don't make stuff like this anymore, and they never ever will. That's the problem. Nothing Lamborghini has made since this car is as cool as this car, and that's why this thing is doing really well. If crypto continues to rip, this car will do that much more. Of all the cars that the crypto bros will go out and buy, this is probably
totally.
Yep. We talked about that beautiful classic 60s Lambo on the last episode that failed to sell at like 175. Just an absolutely stunning, gorgeous old Lamborghini that just nobody wants because nobody knows they exist. The people that have the money, the people that are looking to spend the most money out there in this market right now are looking for this car. And so, yeah, terrible assets. They should have called Bid Nerds. As good an outcome as this car will get, it would have been better and a much more happy ending had they reached out to Bid Nerds. What do we think this car is going to bring?
All right, JP, I'm going to bring up one little point and we'll jump right off of it. Our seller is acknowledging every single person who bids and thanking them for the bid by tagging their name. Let's not get into this tonight. Let's save this for another conversation, but let's remember this listing as something that I think where you can have soft touch and people skills, but you can also take that too far. And this thanking people for the bids, we'll come back to that. I do not agree. All right, JP, our car is currently sitting at $451,000. That comes to us by 11 bids, and our car has 2 days to go until it closes. According to our friends at Classic.com, a 2005 Lamborghini Murciélago Roadster with a 6-speed manual transmission is on average a $375,000 conversation. Our car is at 451. JP, I think it's going to continue to do well, but it's already in uncharted territory. I do not think this is a $600,000 or $800,000 car, so I'm still going to say a little tempered and hope that low bid count is my indicator. But I'm going to go $505,000 and say this car gets another 50 grand, and then it's kind of all over. I do not see this car going to $600,000 or $700,000, and who knows? I may be wrong. But JP, you going to go way over me, or what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to play
505 to you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to play it safe and use Randy's bid again. Go $555,000 and say I do think it could get to $600,000. If we see crypto continue to rip like it's been today and the day before, look, how much is an SVJ? $700,000-$800,000? Screw that car. Nobody wants that stupid thing. This thing's so much better. If you could get an SVJ with 3 pedals, then it'd be a different story. But I think this car right here is the next big thing. I think that this car, kind of like the CGTs for Porsche, are worth more than 918s. I think that this car has a very good chance of surpassing SVJ prices ultimately, because everyone's going to want this instead of those stupid flappy paddle bullshit. All right.
So you took Randy's bid at 555, and Brian led bid right after Randy at 555, and then came right into the comments and said, sorry, Randy, I copied you. And then Dave Yu is also right there. Dave Yu is right there with you guys. He's at $550,000. So I do think that range is probably a safe bet. That's where a lot of people are. Not very many above 600, except Ross Churchus is at 6.25. This will be fun to watch, JP. Great pick. Should we jump ahead?
Yep, let's go. What's next? I got to get to Motor Club out at Red Rock Country.
All right, John.
Club. I'm behind.
1974 Porsche 911 Targa, 5-speed with a wide body conversion and a built 3.4 liter motor. JP, this car is really kind of a poor man's build, but there's a lot of cool things that work here. First, we got a 74 911 Targa. So this was born at Targa. It's a smog exempt car to us Californians. Again, listed by WAB out of Newbury Park, California, showing 9,000 miles. But the big news here, JP, and this is not to be punny, but the motor is what drives the values of these cars. This is a Haas built 3.4 liter flat 6 with Weber carburetors and dual exhaust. The paint on the car is not immaculate. It's not meant to be. It's got an oversized wing and some misplaced 996-esque rocker panels, but a big oil cooler up front to keep that hot motor in check, and very contemporary wheels that I don't think look right on a very IROC or early 70s style car. But, builds like this are going to incite opposing opinions from everywhere. I hate the steering wheel in this car, but I love the gauges and the seats because they're stock. So, it doesn't really matter what side of the aisle you're on. It's just going to matter who's willing to pay the money for it. So, JP, what did you see when you saw this car? Potential or a waste of money?
Well, I got to hand it to you. Good eye. I couldn't figure out what the hell those rocker panels were, and that's exactly what it is. That is a 996 rocker panel stapled onto the side of this car.
I figured it out while I was looking at the photos.
Yeah, good call. That is just hideous. I can, the wing, I'm not in love with the RSR wing on this car. I'm with you that the wheels are too big, but those are kinds of those things I can, whatever, who cares? They're very easy to swap out. But those stapled on rocker panels, and just talk about not period correct. At least the RSR wing, that's, period correct. That it fits. It does fit the car. It's just not the style that I particularly like. But oh my God, that's what it was that was throwing me out. I couldn't put my finger on it. I was thinking it was just the wheels were too damn big.
996 GT3 rockers that were on the car you drove with Anthony Vieira, 40th anniversary.
No, that is not entirely correct. These are aero rockers from the .1. The GT3 rockers are much sharper. They have a very sharp line. But whatever. But Either way, not good on the side of a G-Body 911.
Right.
And they look great on Anthony's car because it's a 996 anniversary car. Not so much on a wide, but I want to love a wide body black on black Targa. Are you kidding me? This should be absolutely bee's knees. But again, that's probably not too terrible to change. Just take them off. I actually do think that this car would look fantastic. Take those off completely and expose the oil lines down the side. Put some Fuchs on here,
yeah.
or some kind of mesh wheels that are just 16-inch at biggest, at the largest, and lose that wing. And now all of a sudden you have just an amazing looking car. And I'm with you on the steering wheel too. What's this thing going to bring?
All right, JP. Our car is currently sitting at $46,000, and that comes to us by way of 7 bids. Our car closes tomorrow. Before we get to the numbers, we should ask our friends at classic.com. They tell us that the average selling price of a 1974 911 Targa that is stock is just $43,000. So that number is not going to help us in determining where this car is going to fly. JP, it's a pretty basic driving video, but you get to hear the car. It's a lightweight flywheel. It's a quick shift. And the car makes power. And despite it being a Targa with big old flares, this is probably still a sub 3,000 pound car. And it's making probably, on the far side of, probably close to 300 horsepower, JP. I think this thing absolutely rocks, even if it's cosmetically not how I want to arrive in my 911. The drive over is probably super exhilarating. With that in mind, I think it's going to double from where it's at. So from 46, JP, I'm going to give you $90,000 at Hammer. And I think 90 should get it done. I don't know if this guy's expecting 100 grand or more. I don't know if I would be. So I think if it got to 90, I'd be happy, but I don't know if everybody thinks the way I do. So 90 to you, JP. Did I go too deep, or do you think that's kind of makes sense given how rare and special that engine probably is?
Yeah, it's all about the engine. I think the nerd herd is kind of missing it. We've got bids all over in the 50s and 40s, and some people are up in the 70s range. That engine is hot, man. And this is one of those times where there might be an opportunity here. You got to have vision when you're buying a car like this. You got to see where the value is. Wheels are so easy to change. And taking those stupid 996 rockers off, super easy. Steering wheel, super easy, and that would be completely transformative. If you could get this car for $60,000 or less, you could make $20,000, no problem, because that engine, it would cost you, that or more, and then it's like getting the car for free. So yeah, your number was what? 90 what?
90 even.
90 even. I'm going to park it under you. I don't think that the seller has those kind of expectations. I'm going to say I'll go 79 911 and hope it sells for that. And I think that if anybody gets it for that number, they're in good shape because they can go spend, $4,000 or $5,000 on the right wheels and deck lid and a little bit of elbow grease to make the side look cool. And you've got a completely different car that's probably just outstanding to drive. All right, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and let's do one last car before we get out of here.
We got room for one more. JP, slide over and make room for this fat old 2004 Rolls-Royce Phantom V12 power. This was basically the first car executed by Rolls-Royce under BMW's new ownership. The big news here, aside from the stately, oversized, gaudy, and grotesque nature of this Rolls-Royce, is this unbelievable 6.75-liter V12 that only made, JP, believe it or not, 450 horsepower and 530 pound-foot of torque. I think somebody should buy this car and add twin turbochargers to it. I got Rami on line 3 who will turbocharge anything. Anyway, JP, big old car, big old odometer, 49,300 miles. As I looked at comparable sales for Phantoms, 2004 is on the older side of this car. They made this car, JP, all the way through the 14, 15, and 16. I don't know if they made significant changes mechanically to the car, but this basic platform has been in service for basically over a decade. But these early cars, even the early cars, none of them had this kind of mileage. And so it was really hard to determine a comp for this car. JP, our car is currently sitting at $54,321 on 13 bids. According to classic.com, the average selling price for a Phantom, which again will include 12s and 14s and 16s, is still $133,000. So you might think, well, this car's got a long way to go. I don't think this car has any chance of coming anywhere near $100,000. So JP, I'm going to hand it over to you with my bid of just $62,000. Our car is at 54. It closes tomorrow. I think 62 is where it's going to be. And I kind of think that's all the money. I think if it gets to 62, I actually think he accepts. Where are you at?
I don't think this car breaks 60. I think it's actually a really cool car. This is super baller on the budget. Anybody seeing this car down the road thinks it's unless you're a supercar nerd like us, most people are going to think this is a multi-$100,000 car, which it may have been brand new, but who cares? I don't know how much it's going to cost to maintain. I don't know. I can't imagine this is going to be something someone is going to daily drive. But what a car for under 60 grand. I'm going to go $59,999 and say it doesn't sell because it's cars and bits. And I think that they probably have not been given the right the right help that the platform should be giving their sellers. Someone should have said, hey, this is the kind of car that should have been no reserve. That would have got the attention for something like this. But all right, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Looks like we got everywhere from 54 to 80,000 all over the place. Wow, that'll be interesting to watch. What's that?
$325,000 at MSRP.
And it still looks every bit of that. It really does.
22 years ago, JP.
Wow.
Can you believe that? You can order a 2026 anything out of England right now. So that car is 22 years old and it was 3.25 back then. Imagine that's got to be 2.5 times today. You know what I mean?
All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out with us for nerds. What's that? Deep, you're going to say something.
Shout out to Chi-Chi Bobblehead. Chi-Chi Bobblehead. That's Chris Carbine.
Chris Carbine. All right, and again, what was I going to? Gosh darn it, I had something set up. Whatever. Make sure you go to the Toronado listing and say you saw it on Bid Nerds and all the listings for that matter. And join us tomorrow. We're going to try to do a live wrap up of a happy ending for that. Bye, Patootie.